I'm gonna walk in a frame like every YouTuber. So, as you see by the title of the video, this is some, I don't know if it says beginner mistakes or mistakes I see in the gym, but we're gonna be covering mistakes that I often see in the gym and how you can really maximize your muscle growth by doing these things and some things not doing these things. Oh, if you like the new tattoo, please let me know. It's Witcher tattoo thing's pretty cool. Anyway, so, I know I haven't talked to you guys in a while. I probably said on some previous videos that I wanted to do YouTube full time. Been tired, working a lot, but trying to do the best that I can, uploading some videos here and there. I've got more to upload that are already stored on my phone. So without further ado, let's talk about some things that you can do to maximize your muscle growth and really get the most out of your workouts, and there are some things that you shouldn't do that I see a lot of people do in the gym. So number one, we're gonna start with, I guess, top is priority, and the last thing I list is, least important. I don't know, we're just gonna list some things. So, ego lifting, or lifting too heavy. I wouldn't say a lot of guys in the gym do this where I go, but I know there are plenty of people that do this. What is ego lifting? Well, what is ego? The attitude and how you represent yourself, I suppose. So, I see a lot of guys in the gym that lift really, really heavy and their form is sloppy. And what this do, that's good English. What this does is it's gonna prohibit a lot of your muscle growth because you're not getting a proper contraction and you're not getting a good enough negative. Because the weight's too heavy, you can't lower that weight down slowly or lower the weight down slow enough, so you're not gonna be getting a good contraction if you're going too heavy. Now there's some exercises to where you can go really heavy and still lower the weight down, do the negative. You can still lower it fairly well, but when you're ego lifting, you're not going to be getting a lot of results. Now, power lifters, when you power lift, it's not really ego lifting, but power lifters pick a weight that is really heavy, but light enough to where they can properly do the exercise 1 to 2, maximum 3 times. I don't know the rep range for power lifters. I think max it goes is 3 or 4. So if you're doing powerlifting and you're doing heavy lifting and you are focusing on powerlifting as opposed to building muscle, which is what this video is about, building muscle, then 1 to 3 reps is okay as long as your form is proper and you have a spotter. Especially, some exercises more so than not in terms of having a spotter. Bench press, you're in a compromised position. The weight is against you. All odds are against you, and you're really going to be fighting to get that weight off. If you're doing it by yourself, you can't just screw it. You're going to have to roll it onto your stomach and get up. Bench press is really the only thing you really need to do with a spotter. To be safe, squatting as well. But you can just drop the weight with squats. Really, I'd say the only thing you really truly need a spotter on is bench press, or anything to do with having a barbell, because you can't just throw barbells at the side as you can with dumbbells. So have a spotter if you're doing really heavy weightlifting with bench press, because you're in a compromised position. There's no way you can just throw that off unless you don't have clips on the weights. You can just turn it. I suppose even then that's dangerous. You're going to be throwing that weight all the way around. So lifting too heavy or ego lifting. Now, I myself have included, have done this before. When I was, 2-3 years ago, I'd ego lift quite a bit. I don't want to size up to people in the gym. And then I realized I'm not really making a lot of gains. It's stupid. I might hurt myself. So don't ego lift. Really, seriously, don't ego lift. Number 2, throwing the weight around with no real form. So whatever exercise you're doing, tricep extension, bench press, or whatever, this kind of ties in with going too heavy. Ego lifting but we're talking more about form. If you're not picking a weight that's light enough to where you can really get a good contraction and squeeze on the muscle, you're really going to be limiting yourself with your muscle growth and potential. Not good to throw the weight around. I saw this guy, maybe he was 1 to 2 years into lifting, and he was doing tricep extensions, and he was just like throwing the weight like this, up and down, up and down, up and down, instead of getting a good squeeze on the tricep, slow up. And your form is absolutely everything in the gym. If you're not focusing on your form and you're not making sure that everything you do is perfect and you really feel that squeeze and contraction and blood flow into the muscle, you're not going to be gaining a whole lot of. You could still, especially if you're a new lifter, you never step foot in a gym, you're going to be gaining muscle, but you're really limiting yourself, guys. So skip the ego bull crap and lift proper weights. So again, this, I guess, could be tied into ego lifting or just lifting too heavy. Your form is sloppy. You want to be able to control that weight all the way down. If you can't push it to the top or do whatever, you can. If you can't do the motion upwards or whatever the contraction is, the motion where you contract your muscles, I suppose, you know, that's not really, it is ego lifting, but at the same time, you're just acting dumb. So lighten the weight. I know you want to lift heavy and look strong, but you will get there. The more years you put into weightlifting, just stick with the lighter weights. And this also kind of ties into heavy lifting, supposedly. No proper form, not having proper form. So if you're not doing the exercise right, your back isn't straight depending on what exercise you're doing. You're not getting, again, a proper contraction. Things aren't looking the best for you if you're just going to be throwing the weight up with no real form. Form isn't just for safety, it's for also just to get a good contraction on the muscle. You know, I believe in cheat reps at the end of an exercise. I believe in cheat curls, cheat tricep extensions, cheat squats, whatever. I mean, you really can't cheat squats. Once you're gassed on squats, you're gassed. But again, keeping your form is everything, and lighten the weight. Definitely want to do that, and make sure that you're doing things correctly so you don't hurt yourself. Form is to not only hurt yourself, you get, you know, you gain more muscle. This kind of also ties in with focus. This is the most important. I didn't listen to the top, but this is the most important thing when it comes to weightlifting and gaining muscle, is focus on the negative for at least minimum 3 to 5 seconds. 2 seconds is okay, but if you're doing bench press and you're just going this fast, 1, 2, 3, yeah, your chest might burn, your triceps be on fire. This also ties into correct form. Other muscles might start jumping in depending on what exercise you do. If you're doing a lot of tricep extensions, your shoulders might start to jump in. If you're not doing proper form and you're not going slow enough or too heavy, other muscles might jump in. And there's nothing against training heavy. Just make sure you do it if you're bench press with a spotter, or you know, do it to where you know you can get the weight up safely. And if you're really powerlifting or whatever, you're doing really heavy weights, low reps, that's totally fine, as long as you're doing it safe and as long as you're controlling the weight. But back to what I said on negatives, how to build muscle. The key to working out in the gym to really maximize your muscle potential and growth is to have a good time under tension, like 35, 40, maybe 45 seconds per set. And that's going to differ depending on what you do, how many reps you do. If you're going heavy, you're not going to take 45 seconds on a set, but you know, generally 8 to 10 reps or even 8 to 20 reps of the seconds, so you're going to be there for maybe a whole minute. Really focusing on the contraction and then the downward movement, making sure that your muscle, you're really keeping that negative long, is key to building muscle, because the more your muscle is under tension, the longer it's under tension, more muscle you're going to be gaining because you're straining that muscle even more. So basics, let's cover what builds muscle. You know, eating right, of course, but lifting. The more you damage the muscle fibers, they want to repair bigger and stronger to prevent that same damage from happening again. That's why you get stronger. So, yeah, lighten the weight and really focus on that negative. I don't care if you're curling 10 or 15 pounds. I don't care what, you shouldn't care how much weight you're starting with, as long as you can feel the burn, you're getting in that proper rep range, you're not hurting yourself, you have good form. You'll really surprise yourself with just how, I wouldn't say weak, but how less strong you actually are when your form is pitch perfect, right? Of course, arch back is okay safely on bench press, but when you go slow and you pause at the bottom and then you extend, you're really probably going to surprise yourself when you take the negatives more slowly, because that muscle is under tension longer, which makes it weaker faster. You know, I can do 135 for 31, 32 reps, which is not fantastic, but I can do 135 for at least 32 reps, 31 reps, when I'm doing it really fast. But I guarantee you I can only get maybe 18, 19 if I'm really focusing on that negative and slowing down. So again, if you want to maximize your muscle growth, obviously eat right, but this is just, we're talking about just purely lifting in this video. Focus on the negative. Sincerely, focus on the negative. 3 to 5 seconds. If you're curling, you know, any upward motion where you're contracting the muscle can be fast. But when you're lowering it, that's when you want it to be slow. So I'm curling, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get the idea. Or bench, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bench, 1. You get the idea. I try to go 3 to 5 seconds, and that really maximizes muscle growth because the muscle is under tension longer, and that's really how you build muscle, is just keeping the muscle under tension. Also, another tip is to not really go out of the bounds where you really feel the contraction or the stretch of the muscle. So bicep curls. So say you're curling up. This is about where I feel the most contraction is about. I'll show you my elbow. Is about here to here. Anything past like this, there's a little bit of a squeeze, but it's negligible. And then anything down here, you know, I'm not really getting anything. So I'd say my elbow bent like this as opposed to this gives me a better flex. So from here to here, and you don't have to do that with every exercise. Of course, you can get a good stretch on the muscles if you're doing flies. You can kind of safely go backwards and squeeze your chest and do things with that sort of a thing. But I mean, again, keeping the muscle under tension the entire time throughout the set, throughout the workout, whatever you're doing, is important because that's how you build muscle. If a lot of your time at the gym is spent with the reps where your muscle is going out of bounds of where it's getting a stretch, it's not going to hurt your gains really, but you're just going to be getting that much of an edge on your workouts, and you're going to be gaining muscle faster. I've been really picking up doing things right in the gym. You know, I started when I was 13, 14. I don't think it was 13. I'm 21 now, and you know, if you start later in life, that's kind of a plus. That's kind of a con. If you start when you're weightlifting at 18, you're smarter than when you were 13. You have a better idea of how to lift and stuff. So a lot of my time spent from like 13 to 17 was really experimentation in the gym. When I was about 16, 17, that's when I really started to pick it up and get the hang of it. Now everything's just, you know, perfect. Falls right into place where I need it to be. So again, let's go over it one more time. Time under tension, you want 3 to 5 seconds on whatever exercise you're doing. Lighten the weight. No ego lifting because it's improper form. Now again, unless you're a power lifter or you have a heavyweight low rep workout, then that's totally fine as long as it's safe and you're doing it with proper form and a good squeeze and contraction on the muscle, not going up and down super fast, none of that. And proper form is really important, especially on high risk exercises like deadlift, squat. I'm going to be straightforward. I don't deadlift, and my lower back is fairly thick. I've got a fairly thick lower back. That's just by doing normal back workouts. I know it's kind of drifting off track, but I don't deadlift because it really puts a big load on my spine. Now, you could say that I do squat a lot. I do a lot of legs. You could say that squats do the same thing to your spine. I'm just not a huge fan of deadlifts, and you know my numbers for bench press, squat, deadlift are all fine. So again, lower the weight unless you're doing a heavyweight low rep day or workout. Proper form is very important. Time under tension, and you don't really know what that means. Again, just making sure that on the negative, which is the downward motion or the opposite of the contraction. I forget, is it eccentric? Is that what it's called? I just don't want to throw the incorrect term out. But lowering the weight slowly, at least 3 to 5 seconds, you're going to be getting a good squeeze or a good flex and stretch, and you're going to tear that muscle up and grow. So, you know, yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Tips on how to maximize your muscle growth in the gym. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned for more. I'm going to have random videos just posted all over the place. Thanks.